and we're doing it.
Okay.
Doing it live.
Something
To
Here's
tape.
me.
live to tape. Was it last week? I think we accidentally did the after show publicly.
I did.
So that was fun.
When you say we,
when you say we, I
you
mean,
mean
that seems
you.
I mean, that was entirely me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no choice in that.
Nope.
No
My after show was private.
choice. No. choice. Hello and welcome to episode 685 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, December 24th, 2019. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and with me for this first installment of our Games of the Decade series, direct from Canada, is Mr. Greg Seward.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours, Mr. Johnston,
Oh, thank you.
and to all
As
our
we
listeners.
record this, of course, I'm not in the USA. I am somewhere in South Africa enjoying a safari, or not enjoying a safari. However that goes.
Really?
We'll see. We'll see, right?
I'm gonna warn you right now.
Here it comes.
Watch out for hippos.
I have heard that.
They
I've heard
are
hippos are like
deadly.
the deadliest animal.
Hippos are significantly
angry.
faster than you would expect them to be.
Yes, I have heard that.
And they will kill you dead with.
And they won't even feel bad about it.
Oh,
They're like
yeah.
no.
They're like the Terminators of the animal kingdom.
Everything
it'll
that you've
take like
learned
2 seconds too.
from hungry hippos is wrong. They don't
No,
just
they
go
are
after
hungry.
marbles.
No,
You're just a big old meat bag marble to them.
yep.
Yeah.
Big
I guess
fleshy
so.
marble.
That's-
Also,
Fleshy CJ, the big fleshy marble.
I'm a
Also-
big white marble,
Yeah.
and that's what Hungry Hippos is. It's a recreation of
exactly.
my vacation.
Also, watch out for Jimmy John, sandwich Baron Jimmy John,
yeah.
because I know he loves going over to Africa and shooting things dead.
I have no interest in
Jimmy
that.
John?
Jimmy John.
He's not actually named that though, right? It's not like
You're
Papa
not talking
John.
about Papa John?
No, Jimmy John.
Because he
is a
went nuts
sandwich.
recently too.
Yeah, no, Jimmy John is a sandwich chain here in the U.S.
Jimmy
Okay.
John's, yes.
They sell very bland,
I like 'em.
flavorless. Do you
I like-
really?
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Have you had one lately? I mean,
Phil,
Yes.
is
Yeah,
your
I
is
have.
your liberal bias affecting your taste buds? Is that what's
I
going
think
on?
it is.
I don't think
it is.
so because
You know, people you don't like can make tasty food.
You
too.
know what?
No. Well, I'll say this.
It's Christmas.
Chick-fil-A.
Please allow people to enjoy the food that they like.
There you go.
I'm not saying Jimmy John's is bad because the owner is terrible. I'm saying Jimmy John's is bad because they're shitty sandwiches.
Okay.
Okay.
That's better. That's
Chick-fil-A, they're run by awful people, but their food is very
Delicious.
good.
That's true.
I
Their
hear.
food is
Food is
very, very good.
Very good.
And you know what? Given the choice, I'll take waffle fries any day of the week over any other fry. But
Your
Jimmy John's
convictions only run
sandwiches-
so
What about,
deep.
you don't
and
like curly?
That's not as deep as your stomach,
Huh? Oh, no,
Oh no,
obviously.
curly fries. Okay,
Curly
first of
fries?
all, let's get this
waffle
straight.
fry. Curly
Let's get this straight. There are no bad fries. Okay,
Oh,
but
don't
given
know
the
about that.
choice,
Yeah.
a waffle is my favorite. I love the waffle fries.
love you a good
I
waffle
see.
fry.
I do. But curly fries, yes. Also, curly fries are fantastic. Come
also
on,
good.
let's not be silly.
All right. And I didn't do the second half of the introduction here because
Well, that's me.
With me also from the great state of Washington, ambassador to the waffle fry
I do love waffle
appreciation
fries.
Organization,
I do
Mr.
love a waffle
Phil
fry.
Theobald.
But yeah, Jimmy John's sandwiches are not very good.
Well, I
They
don't
are-
know why.
they are
I like them. I
You
know
don't
why.
like flavor. That's your problem.
I do though.
That's your problem. You
do
don't
like
like,
flavor.
but you can get. They do have those big deli pickles there, which is I appreciate
do
because
have
I do
that.
love a
I
deli
miss,
pickle.
I gotta say, I miss Panera Bread.
Panera Bread. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have them here. And when we were in
Oh, really?
Illinois, we used to go there all the time.
Oh yeah. That's right.
That is a thing that exists.
is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, yeah, we're pre-recording these
Mm-hmm.
episodes. So if you're joining us on YouTube and you're chatting in the
We're
chat
not
box,
really here.
We can't see any of that, but
We're
thank
gone,
you.
baby. We're gone.
Especially not on the evening of. Oh, actually, it would be the 22nd that we would run this, wouldn't
It would be.
Is
Not
it?
on Christmas Eve.
It's the 22nd right now.
Yes.
As this runs on
This is-
YouTube.
this-
in an alternate
Well, I mean,
universe,
if
Welcome
we're
to the future.
if we're like playing along,
which I
yeah.
thought we were going to, but not anymore.
I guess we're not.
I guess not.
Happy December 23rd, everybody.
And 24.
Hope you're all having a good-
too.
Hope you're gonna enjoy Christmas in 3 days.
That'll be real fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're doing our games of the decade here. So we're splitting this into 2 episodes.
Yep.
First episode is going to be 10 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
Second episode is going to be 5 through 1.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have fun. We're gonna crack wise. I'm sure. We're
You
gonna
are
talk
some
about
broads.
food.
What is this?
Talk about more.
What is this? Our after show? You are stealing my after show.
I am. I
bit.
am. You're right. You're right.
Can't do
You're right.
that.
I can't.
He just did it though.
Come up with your own material.
Did it.
Come up with your own material, Sluggo. I don't need that.
Yeah, you look. You saw that
Can't.
shirt too, huh?
I did.
Sluggo's lit. Yeah.
Sluggo
CJ's
is
got
lit.
a Sluggo is lit shirt. I
Very
am
nice.
wearing my new Geegan shirt
Ooh.
from Mondo Tees.
Very
So,
nice.
what do you think about that, tough guy? You're not the only one who can buy T-shirts on the internet, CJ.
I guess not.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought
Really
I was
showed
the
you.
only one.
So, yep. Take that. I have to
Okay.
keep. I had to buy this because I got to keep my T-shirt collection going.
I see.
I'm very close to having
Why?
all of them.
Oh, okay.
So
I need about 20, 22 more T-shirts, and then I will have the complete set.
That is pretty close to all of them.
Yep.
be t-shirt clear.
Every T-shirt ever
T-shirt
made.
clear. I haven't heard that in a while.
So I guess we're doing number 10.
Well, try to
10.
There it
try with a
goes.
little less enthusiasm, CJ.
Number 10.
So this is the best
These
games
are the scientifically proven best games released in the last 10
of
years.
the decade.
Yes.
Which I think it's probably safe to say the list will not include Fortnite,
Mhm. Don't be so
Well, that
sure.
PlayerUnknown's
game sucked.
Battlegrounds,
Don't be so sure.
Still, yep.
any Rainbow Six game.
You have not seen either of our lists.
How
Don't know.
high up? I'm curious. How high up will Clash of Clans get on all 3 lists? That's what I'm.
That's a good
That's the
Curious
to be
about.
determined.
TBD.
Now, this is all games as a whole. We did not do something where it was like, oh, here's the best game of 2010.
No,
No,
Here's the best
no,
game
we're
of
just-
2011. No, this
Here
is-
are our 10 favorite games from the second decade in the 2000s.
starting
in the
2 weeks
21st
ago.
century. Yeah.
Greg, CJ, and myself sat down and we played every
every
game
single game
Every game
released in the past
to
10
completion.
years.
To
Yeah,
completion,
to
because we all
completion.
know you can't review or rank a game unless you finished it.
That is
You
absolutely
can't
true.
review. Yep.
So this is very we had a scale of
Yeah, there
factors
were
that we had to
fights.
include.
Phil
Yeah.
left crying at least 3 times.
But I mean, I do that after most of our recording sessions.
I will say I finished every game on this list.
Is that
on our
right?
list. That can be finished. I have finished. If
Oh,
it can
Yeah,
be finished,
you know
I have
what?
finished.
I can say the same from my list.
okay.
Yeah.
These are the
I-
10 games I managed to finish in the last 10 years.
Actually, yeah. I believe I did too. So
So
We're all
that's
good.
good. That's
we're all good. We're all good.
Yeah. I think we're good. Who wants to go? What order are we going?
Well, you're the host,
you're the
bro.
All right, I'm gonna make Greg go first.
I don't want to go first. Make Phil do it.
Too bad.
I don't want to go first. Make Greg. Actually, you should go first. You're the host with the most blowst.
I don't want
Host
to.
with
though.
the most blowst.
What are we nervous now
You know-
after 680 something
I was gonna
episodes? Now
say,
we're getting
the
shy.
interesting thing about this is
What's that?
this doesn't even just doing games of the decade doesn't cover the entire run of the show.
I
Yeah,
know.
That's true.
I
That's
know.
That's absolutely true.
I even think there is an episode where we talk about our favorite games of the aughts,
Yep. Previous.
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
previous decade.
which is so weird.
All
All right.
I don't even
so-
remember recording that one.
This
My number
Yes.
10.
number 10.
Number
10.
Numero
DS.
DS. Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
I was
Gotta come
immediately
up
going
with-
to French, and it's like I know that's
no,
not right.
No.
I don't know past 5.
Numero
Um,
10.
Numero 10.
Yes.
So this one actually was one of the more difficult ones for me to decide on, just because there were so many good games that didn't make my top 10. And
Mhm.
like this last one was like, and it was definitely between a couple of the front runners were BioShock 2, because I
Okay.
loved BioShock
Yeah.
2.
Mhm.
The Wolf Among Us. This was one of my favorite Telltale series.
Mhm.
Sure.
But when I really sat down and thought about it, when I looked at all the games that were kind of left on my short list, I had to go with Astrobot Rescue Mission
All right.
for the PlayStation VR. And for
Yep.
the simple fact that I love me a good platformer,
Mhm.
and that is nothing if not a good platformer.
Mhm.
I loved that that this game brought platforming into virtual reality in a way that didn't feel super gimmicky, but yet felt gimmicky enough that it was fun. If
Right.
that makes any sense. And I remember us talking about this, I think last year, Phil. This was very high on your Game of the Year list as well.
Absolutely was.
And saying over and over again that the best thing about it was just that it constantly brought a smile to my face.
Yep.
And looking back over the last 10 years, I don't think there are tons of games that I can say that about. But this one, yeah, like from the minute you started to beating the final boss, I adored it. I was always smiling. I was always looking forward to the next level. They did a great job of switching up what was going to happen every level. We talked about it, the levels that were like underground or underwater, I should say, although underground as well. Like I said, they switched things up beautifully.
Mhm.
And although they were sort of reusing a lot of platforming game tropes that we had seen previously, seeing them in VR made them feel really fresh and really fun to dip your head in water and things like that to get the camera to follow your little astrobot. So yeah, number 10, Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Nice.
Excellent. Phil.
Okay, my number 10 game is 2012's The Walking Dead season 1
All
from
right.
from the good folks at the sadly now defunct Telltale Games.
Game that really
Um,
kind of put them on the map.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Did.
And yeah, this was a game we were all big fans of this the year that came out. That this was I'm pretty sure it was very high on all three of our top 10s.
Well, I remember that when the episodes came out, we would actually have like spoiler casts.
Yeah.
For every
Yes.
episode.
Yeah,
We were all very invested in that game.
This is like one of the
Absolutely.
few times where we all
Oh, yeah.
did that
Yeah.
together. And in fact, there's a supercut spoiler cast that
Yes.
has all
Oh,
of
yeah,
them
that's right.
for season 1 all together.
That is right. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was a at the time a not necessarily a new style of game, but
Yeah.
certainly sort of a refinement on the sort of graphic adventure kind of visual novel type storytelling in a game. It had some really great characters, really kind of intense plot. That of course, one of the big hooks of that game was it forced you to make some really big decisions on the fly that would affect how
It had lasting impact.
Yeah. And I mean, characters that you really ended up really caring about, even characters,
even the jackasses.
Yeah, well, and I we've talked about this sometime recent-ishly, it feels like, where specifically the character Kenny, who
Mhm.
when you start that game, you really don't like Kenny, but by the
Yeah.
end, you are like,
Well,
you
and there's
really
that
grow
pivotal
attached to him.
moment. There's that pivotal moment, which I mean, this game's almost
Yeah.
10 years old now, but I really
Right.
still don't want to spoil it for anybody who might not have played it.
2012.
Because highly recommend playing this. But yeah, there's a pivotal moment where it's not weird to cry for Kenny.
Oh yeah,
To
Yeah.
really feel terrible for him.
yeah,
And yeah, I agree, because it's funny because he's not really the main character by any stretch of the imagination.
oh no,
But he evolves in such an amazing way, especially through the lens of the player, that even in season 2, he becomes a familiar face that you're very happy to see later on.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, which when you think back to when you first met him in the first episode of season 1,
yeah. Oh,
that
he's
guy's
just
an
awful.
asshole. Like,
He was awful.
yeah. So,
But
love
yeah,
that.
Lee, of course, was the main character.
Mhm.
And yeah, Lee was such a great character, so well defined. Clementine, who would go on to become the lead of the rest of the series.
Which I think we were all parents by that point too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Which I think
Oh,
had a
yeah,
huge
yeah,
effect on us
2012,
loving this
yeah.
game.
2012.
Yeah,
because-
2012. Yeah, our kids, CJ and my kids would have just been born.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were very much, I think, in dad mode when it came to
Oh,
Clementine.
for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah, just a really well done game. It I think we all played it probably on 360 or PS3, but it's
Yep.
been re-released on just about every system since then, and thankfully it was collected in a big Walking Dead collection that was re-released earlier this year. So even though Telltale is gone now, you do still have an opportunity to play this game.
Yeah, directly from Skybound, I believe.
Yes.
Too,
Yes.
who are own the Walking Dead comics.
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah, well,
and
it's,
TV, all the licensing. Skybound is the publisher, original publisher.
Right. So there you go. Walking Dead season 1.
Excellent. So, man, it was hard to come up with a list of just 10 games from this.
There were a lot of good
decade
games this decade.
Man, there were so many.
Mhm.
But so I left some off the list, of course. Things like Animal Crossing, New Leaf, Portal 2, Rock Band 4, one of my favorite games.
That's weird
Uh,
for
Let's-
you.
Let's
I
be
know.
fair.
I know.
Let's be fair. When each of us compiled our and again, I stress we compiled our list separately.
Yeah.
None of us we have no idea what's on the others' lists.
No.
I mean, we obviously have our ideas, but none of us know exactly what's on there. But when we compiled these best games of the decade, we left most of the games off.
That's
we
true.
did.
I mean, when
Yeah,
you look at
right.
all the
Most
games,
I
of
would
the
say
videos-
if you were doing if you did an experiment, I would say you'd find that there were more games not on the list
Mhm.
than are on the list.
True.
I'd say even if you took all three of our lists and combined them,
We'd still be pretty different.
yeah,
Yeah.
most,
Pretty different, probably.
Like there'd be
Probably.
still be a lot of games left off the list.
yeah, I mean,
And that
probably
too.
most games that came out in the past
Yeah.
10 years have did not make it onto
God.
our list. So
well,
if
with
you're
that
on these
said,
lists,
that's
an elite club.
it's an elite club. Can't go wrong with any of these 10, I'm sure.
Yes,
But my number 10 game is Super Mario Maker on the Wii U.
great game.
Which is a fantastic game, released at a time when Nintendo was struggling with the Wii U. You know, it was not a popular
So
system
from the moment it was released.
from the moment it was released. But you know, it's a type of game that I don't think I ever thought would get made. Like I never thought
Yeah.
Nintendo will hand over the tools to make Mario levels to regular schmoes and you know, have that all available and allow them to publish things to other players. And so when it was a thing, and I remember like the E3 when it got debuted, there was a leak from the E3 floor, and Super Mario Maker was one of the signs in Nintendo's booth. And the font was kind of weird, like and cut off. So people were like, "That's not real. That's a Photoshop." But I had hoped that it was real, and lo and behold, it was. But on the Wii U, you know, nobody really played it, and nobody got to experience some of the great content that came out for Super Mario Maker because it was compatible with the Amiibo line of toys that they put out, and you could scan Amiibo and get characters from other games into your levels, and that was a huge huge thing for
Yeah.
that game. Like, and that is not in Super Mario Maker 2, although they just recently introduced Link to Super Mario Maker 2.
Have
But
you speaking, have you tried that yet?
I've not tried that. No.
Because you know I updated our version. Finn has played Mario Maker 2 significantly more than I have, and
Yeah.
he was messing around with it.
You can do a
Um,
lot of stuff with it.
and
And
yeah,
use
he made-
items and things too.
Yeah,
It's
and,
different.
and he's made a few levels where you can play as Link, and it's pretty neat. So
yeah, it's different. But in Super Mario Maker 1, they had all these different sprites you could bring in from all these different properties that were
Yeah.
within the Nintendo universe, and the amount of updates they did to the original game on Wii U was just unprecedented. Like in general, you sort of thought of Nintendo as doing a sort of one and done
yeah,
thing, but they kept releasing content for it, and they had, you know, a lot of fun tie-ins with like that's the Squid Girl comic in Japan, and
well, there were a few non-Nintendo characters that you could play as too. I mean, like
that's
you
right.
had like what Sonic and Mega Man and
Yes,
Pac-Man
yes,
and
all through Amiibo.
yeah. But then they had like kind of weird
okay.
like Baby Metal.
Yeah,
That Japanese
They
metal
did
band,
weird-
Baby Metal, you could play as, and
promotional.
I think maybe
things.
Shaun the Sheep, the Aardman character.
Oh, I
you
don't
could
remember
play.
that one.
Yeah,
remember that
like,
one.
I believe you could actually play as Shaun the Sheep in Mario Maker 1.
I think they had Splatoon characters in there too. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
did a lot with that game,
Mm-hmm.
and it was impressive. And unfortunately, they just put out an update to Super Mario Maker 2. That's like the biggest update that game has gotten in like the first 6 months it's been out. So they haven't really supported it quite as much as the original, which is a little surprising. But just that level of support that they gave to the original Super Mario Maker on Wii U and being able to use the gamepad to create levels, like it just was a really unique title for Nintendo to do. And that is my number 10.
Nice.
So with that, I think I'll talk about some of the topics that were on Player One podcast in 2010. I went back through the archives.
Oh dear.
And brought up some stories that we talked about. So maybe you remember these, maybe you don't, but I think we can go through this. So the PS3 apocalypse, do you remember this? A leap year bug in the PlayStation 3 OS prevented games from being played. So I think at the time Heavy Rain had just come out.
That.
And yeah, basically because of the leap year, it did all sorts of wacky things like corrupted saves and things like that. So it lasted a few days. And Sony recommended that you just not turn on your PS3 to avoid problems, which is hilarious. In 2010,
I mean, they're not wrong.
I know. Microsoft launched Game Room.
Oh, I miss Game Room so much.
Yeah, really.
March 24th of 2010. Game Room. So if you don't remember it, it was this sort of hub interface where you could then play. You could buy and play like classic arcade games and sort of make your own arcade.
Yeah, and you could mix and match them and create themed rooms, and the machines were based on the actual original cabinets, and it was so cool.
It was a great idea. Unfortunately, it didn't catch fire.
Yeah.
The Nintendo 3DS was announced in March and then unveiled at E3 2010.
The ice cream sandwich.
The ice cream sandwich one. Yeah. Project Natal became Kinect at E3 and was released at the holidays.
Changed the world.
Have you ever seen the bottom of Avatar's shoe?
Well, bam. There it is.
That was that E3.
Wha-bam.
Keiji Inafune left Capcom.
Oh,
that went really well for everybody involved too.
Sure did. Sony had a rumored PlayStation phone. You remember, of course, like the early days of smartphones, every consumer electronics manufacturer had to have their own phone. And of course, the PlayStation brand being big with Sony, they had to have a phone in the Xperia line that played PlayStation games. And they did for a short while, and I was not successful.
No.
OnLive debuted. So they took pre-orders November 17th, 2010. So we had OnLive and Gaikai at the same time, kind of kicking off the cloud gaming revolution.
Tried OnLive for a while.
Yeah, OnLive was not bad. No. In fact, later on, we'll get to the fact that Sony bought both OnLive and Gaikai. And proceeded to not really do much with either. We got those free Doritos games on Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Dorito Dash, and there was
another one.
The
Crash Course.
Crash Course, that's the one. Yeah, the kind of game show one.
Crash Course, and the other one has a weird name. What is it?
Was there a third one?
Yeah,
Harm's
there was
Way.
3.
No, there was. So what happened was there was some kind of contest 2 years earlier for these games, and then they were released in 2010. And then there was a second contest, and we got more of those later on. So this is like Crash Course.
I had no idea that was the case.
Anyway, yeah. And then, of course, in 2010, Sandlot Sluggers released. Mr.
Full playthrough on Twitch TV/Archives.
Look at that.
Greg
Yes,
Stewart.
I was the game designer on Sandlot Sluggers.
Excellent. And Robot Unicorn Attack came out on
Oh.
Flash
Never heard
and
of it.
mobile in 2010.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And we also did the 200th episode of the Player One podcast.
Wow.
Jeez.
Makes you think. Makes you
Yikes.
think, doesn't it? And we had episodes that year that included a couple guests. We did a PAX episode that had
CJ
Justin
can't find the name.
McElroy
There you go.
and John Riccardi, Shane Bettenhausen, Chris Baker. So yeah, we did a lot of good stuff in 2010.
We got baked in 2010.
Woo!
Sea baked.
See baked.
Anyway, yes.
For some reason, Google's being weird on my computer. That's why I
Good to know.
was distracted for a second. But that means that we are then at number 9.
Number 9.
Numero
Nueve.
9.
Numero nueve. Learn your Spanish, man. Jeez,
Why would I
Louise.
know Spanish?
Watch some Dora.
I live it. I have watched. I can. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, come on,
I've
man.
watched Dora. Is
Yeah,
it me
well,
again? I'm going first.
You're
Yeah.
first, yeah.
My
We've got a pattern.
numero 9 is Lego Dimensions.
Oh,
Ah,
look at
Which-
that.
So actually, when we were compiling these lists, of course, we went through our top 5s.
Mm-hmm.
One of us in particular went through and found all our top 5s and logged them. Thanks, Phil. And
Did I didn't do all of them. I think you
no,
did a
started
good
the
chunk of them
document.
too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, realized as I was going through our top 5s from the last 10 years that Lego Dimensions didn't make it onto any of my top 5s, and I think it's because I didn't actually start playing it until following January,
Right.
the year it came out. Never been a big Toys to Life fan. Kind of tried to get into Toys to Life with Disney, the
Right.
Disney
Infinity.
game, Disney Infinity, and found that to be extremely disappointing. The only thing I really liked about that game was the toys.
they were nice toys.
They
too.
were really
they
nice
really were.
toys. And being a
Sure.
Disney fan, of course, having all those different Disney and Marvel toys was kind of nice.
Yeah.
But
And Star Wars.
and Star Wars, thank you. But
It's a lot of stuff.
they own everything. But Lego Dimensions came out, and I think Phil, you were the one who first told me about it.
That
And-
sounds like me.
Yeah. And I gave it a shot, even
Mhm.
though it was against my better judgment. And I loved right from the start. It hooked me because of the fact that they had so many licenses
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and they freely mixed and matched everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
To the point that
Which
I
was
played
something
that
that
game.
Disney Infinity did not do
Mm.
at all.
I played that game regularly for the better part of a year.
Yeah.
I jumped on pretty much every expansion pack as it came out. Some were better than others. Some were amazing. Some were not great.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it had the added ability to, build all the different cute little Lego pieces.
Yeah.
And there's like Sonic and the A-Team van and the DeLorean and the Batmobile. And so all in all, yeah, like I played it for the better part of a year. I couldn't put it down. And
Yeah.
it gave me a reason. I felt like I wasn't wasting my money on all these little toys. Excuse me. Because I got to build them and my kids played with them after that. And yeah, it's just a great little game. Best Toys to Life game I've ever played.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've only dabbled in a few other ones, but that was the one that hooked me, and it hooked me right through the end.
Yeah. Starlink is actually really good.
I finally picked up Starlink.
Oh, because it was
Yeah.
super cheap over Black
Yes.
Friday. It was like $10
Yeah.
for the
Yep.
Switch version.
Mhm.
Have you
I haven't
not tried it
I
yet?
haven't played it yet.
It's yeah. I mean, it's certainly came out. I don't know why they brought that game out because it was well after the Toys to Life thing had died.
Yeah, like it was common knowledge
Yeah.
that Toys to Life
Yeah.
was a big waste of time and money.
But thankfully that game does not require you. You can buy all the add-on stuff without buying the toys, which is good.
Right.
But I mean the toys were really good and it's a fun game. But I do Lego Dimensions. That's a great game, and I do still have my complete. I have every add-on for friggin' Lego Dimensions.
Wow.
You guys know me. I'm a big Lego nerd, right?
That's true. That's true.
So that was one of the big draws for me was just a bunch of cool Lego minifigures and stuff.
Yeah. And they did licenses that you wouldn't expect, like Gremlins and
Goonies.
Ghostbusters and Goonies and
Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz.
Seriously. Oh,
Doctor
man.
Who and Star
Yeah.
Wars, and I mean, there's
Weird.
just so much.
There was
great
no
stuff.
Very
Star
cool.
Wars.
Oh, there was no Star Wars. I'm
No
sorry.
Star Wars. Yeah,
No Star Wars.
yeah. No
But it's
Marvel
still
or
cool.
Star Wars in Lego
Right.
Dimensions.
Makes
But there was a
sense.
lot of DC stuff.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Boom.
So.
Midway Arcade.
Oh
Yep, that was a great one too.
And it
What?
actually unlocked the
The
Midway
arcade
arcade games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could just go and play Defender in Lego Dimensions
Yeah,
if you
actually
wanted to.
put a little
Yeah.
Midway Classic arcade in your game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess it's because Warner Brothers, who did the game,
Mhm.
owns
Yeah.
Midway, so it might as well.
Right,
But
right, yeah, why not?
yeah.
But there you go.
All right, Phil.
Okay, my number 9 game is a game from 2012. It is That Game Company's Journey. Released by
Yes.
Sony Computer Entertainment for PS3, eventually ported to PS4. I believe later it came to like PC and iOS even, but
Yep.
I adored Journey. Absolutely adored Journey. It is it's a short game. You can finish it in like what, 2 or 3 hours. Easy to play through in one sitting. It is stunning. It is weird and a little obtuse and a little mysterious because there's you're walking around. There's not a lot of guidance as to what you're supposed to do. You're in this odd kind of magical world that it's kind of left to you to figure out what is happening and what the story is. And then there's that odd kind of multiplayer aspect to it where as you're playing through the game, you will start to stumble across other characters, and it turns out that they're actual other people playing the game. So you're playing with someone in real time, but you have no way of communicating with each other other than kind of flashing. You can kind of send a
Yeah,
little
you can-
signal burst out to kind of get their attention, but you certainly can't talk to them.
You don't
like
know
playing
what
Fantasy
their,
Star Online on Xbox.
you don't know what their gamer tag is. Or,
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you just you kind of figure out ways to work together to make getting past obstacles easy and stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
and just the visuals, the music, everything kind of came together in that game to just be really just a beautiful little short experience that I had a blast with. So
That is a
I've
great
actually
game.
replayed it
Yeah.
a couple times just because it is so
Yeah.
just kind
Has Finn played it at all?
He is not actually.
Really?
He I mean I haven't replayed it in a while.
Mhm.
And I mean that game came out the year he was born. So
Right.
the times I had replayed it, he would have been, baby
Sure.
to toddler age. So maybe I should sit down and play it now that he's more cognizant of games and plays them
Yeah.
himself, certainly.
Charlotte really liked playing Journey as
Yeah.
well, just because the puzzles are simple, intuitive sort of things. A lot of it just involves going up to something and pressing a button to activate it,
Right.
really,
Right.
and looking at the amazing visuals. And she really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she
It's a
started
great game.
getting interested in video games, we played Journey.
Oh, nice. That's a good
Well,
idea.
she played it, I watched.
Very cool.
My number 9 is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Oh,
Really? All right.
Yeah.
The 3DS game.
The 3DS game. That's right.
Nice.
I never thought that we were going to get a sequel
It
to
could
Luigi's
happen to
Mansion.
me.
Like Luigi's Mansion is one of my favorite games of the early 2000s when it was on the GameCube as a launch game, and
The aughts.
the aughts, yeah. And to me, I figured it was just a forgotten game. Like nobody was going to pay attention to Luigi's Mansion ever again. Maybe we'd get a re-release at some point as the GameCube became retro. But I never thought we'd get a full sequel. And the fact that Next Level just pumped it with an amazing amount of creativity. You have the different mansions and the different settings, and also just as a showpiece for the 3DS itself. Like in the history of the show, you can go back and listen to the episodes where I say I never turn on the 3D effect at all, ever. This was one of the few games, and there were a handful, mostly made by Nintendo, games that I turned the 3D effect on for, and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was certainly one of those. And just love the aesthetic and everything about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, amped up what I loved about the original Luigi's Mansion. And it came out around PAX East, and Nintendo was selling things at that particular PAX East. They had like a booth where they were selling games and systems and such. And I remember I had an exhibitor's badge for that PAX East, and I lined up early with somebody who worked at Sucker Punch, and we got our Luigi's Mansion Dark Moons. It was amazing. And then of course met a friend who works at Next Level, who was at the show, Brian, and he was looking for people who had bought it to take pictures of to send the team. So struck up a conversation with him, ended up talking about retro games and such with him. But yeah, just really have great memories of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I have it on both physical and digital because, like I said, it came out around PAX East, and they actually had the cartridge early. Like you get it like 5 days early or something at PAX. So one of the few 3DS games I have physical, because with 3DS I went all digital.
Yeah,
But, great game. So
You weirdo.
I am a weirdo. And now that we're done with our number 9s, let's talk about 2011.
ooh,
Yeah, 2011 Bizarre Creations closed after Blur
Oh man.
did not do well. You remember Blur?
Yeah, I remember Blur.
And that was an okay game.
It was, yeah, maybe.
It was an
I think that's
okay. It was an
generous,
okay game.
but
Steam came to the PlayStation 3 via Portal 2, so
I remember that.
remember you could connect up your
yeah.
Steam account, and
And nothing happened with that since.
nothing
Yeah.
happened with that since. But the interesting thing, the announcement talks about cross achievements, cross trophies with the PlayStation 3, and you could play the multiplayer crossplay.
Could you?
Portal 2. Yeah, they say crossplay. I don't know anybody who did it. I don't think I did.
right.
We probably all did it. We just don't remember.
I don't remember, but that was one of the things. They had online crossplay in Portal 2 via Steam, PlayStation 3. Weird. Anyway, Sony announced their next generation portable. They were referring to it as the NGP. You remember that? So they showed off the Vita. Didn't start calling it the Vita until later, but NGP, they showed that off at GDC. We had the 3DS launch in Japan in February, and then the US in March. And of course, historically, they dropped the price just a few months later at the end of July, and gave everybody who'd early adopted 20 free games with the ambassador program.
Jeez, yeah, I forgot about the ambassador
Yeah,
program.
I mean, it wasn't a normal thing though, because they dropped that price because it really didn't take off the way they were hoping.
It didn't
Right.
take off, right?
Yeah,
No,
like it wasn't
and
a
they
success.
had Sony kind of breathing down their neck with the NGP,
Right.
the Vita. So remember that PlayStation Network was down in April 2011. It was down for 23 days.
I do you remember that?
that was really bad. So
Wow.
and
Mass hysteria.
as I'm going through the list of the big stories that we talked about on the show, there are upcoming many more outages of services that I had completely forgotten about. But yeah, April 2011 down 23 days. The Wii U was announced at E3.
And everyone thought they were just getting a new upgrade for their Wii.
Yeah, because it wasn't clear that it was more than just the controller. That there was actually.
But
a
I do
system
remember
back
using
there
the
too.
screen for throwing stars.
We all
remember
do,
that E3 video?
don't we? Yeah, 3D gaming was a big thing. So Sony even released their own 3D TV that was PlayStation branded.
The thing was a
2011.
piece of garbage. I bought one of those.
Did you
Well,
really?
they were
Yeah.
discounted heavily.
Yes, and they were awful.
Ah,
Kotaku spoiled an Arkham City plot point in a headline
oh,
before
really?
the game came out.
What?
That's right. It was a big
Well,
thing.
What was the spoiler?
Batman.
The
the Batman was
Joker-
in it.
Bruce
that the
Wayne is
Joker
Batman.
dies. No,
Oh,
Joker
okay.
dies.
Gotcha.
Or does he? Question mark.
Oh.
But
Womp
anyway,
womp.
spoiler for Arkham City right in the headline. Great.
Ugh.
The first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 5 came out
Mm.
in 2011.
Hey, remember Grand Theft Auto 5?
That game's still on the top,
Yeah.
near the top of the charts, like every month.
Jeez.
Oh my God. We had the first Nintendo Direct talking about 3DS
Ah.
and Wii games on October 21st, 2011. GamePro shut down.
Ah.
Yeah. There was a Wired interview with Miyamoto where he said that he was going to retire.
Someday.
Remember this whole thing, or he was going to retire, and Nintendo later had to refute it, and yeah, he didn't actually retire.
Hmm.
But Minecraft got its full like 1.0 release in November of 2011. IGN teamed up with Yu-Gi-Oh and 1UP in 2011. We got the Skylanders Spyro's Adventure game, which launched in 2011 and kind
Toys
of
to
launched
Life.
the Toys to
Yep.
Life
Yes, indeed.
thing. And I believe the first episode of Generation 16 came out on December 3rd, 2011.
Wow, dude, really?
Yes.
I'll take your word for that.
I went back and looked at the archive, episode 1 in
And
2011.
of course, episode 120, as of this broadcast, has been out for a few weeks.
Nice.
There you go. And I guess that means we're up to number 8.
Number 8.
Numero
Ocho.
ocho.
It's Ocho.
And the only reason I know that is because
Dodgeball?
the channel Ocho B.
Oh, no, okay. I thought you were
Numero Ocho.
Dodgeball.
No,
You're on
Ocho.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Ah.
Simpsons.
That was a great
reference for
movie.
me.
Oh, sorry.
I've never seen Dodgeball.
You've never seen Dodgeball?
I've
Oh, you
never-
should see
I've never
Dodgeball.
seen
Oh,
Dodgeball
it's
either.
a fun movie. That's a
Yeah, but
fun
you've
movie.
never seen Spinal Tap.
Shut up.
I bet
Which, by
Spinal
the
Tap's
way,
better than Dodgeball.
Probably.
I was going through old episodes,
Yeah.
and you have Stewie making reference to the episode of The Simpsons where Spinal Tap is on.
I mean, I've seen The Simpsons.
He's never seen Spinal Tap. I just
Was
thought
he
it
like-
who
hilarious.
Spinal Tap is?
Was he like, wow, I can't believe they gave that band from The Simpsons a movie?
He was exactly like that. Anyway, number 8, Greg.
We salute you, a half-inflated Dark Lord.
That was exactly the reference that I was listening to.
Good night, Springdon. There will be no encores.
On Route 409.
That's 5 miles from my house.
Oh God.
It's a great episode.
Yes.
Yeah, so my number 8 is a game we've already talked about tonight, which is The Walking Dead Season 1.
No.
Oh,
For all the reasons we mentioned before. So there's really no reason to go into it any further, just to say that yeah, for all the reasons we mentioned before, it was made, you had to make decisions quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They had real consequences, lasting consequences that could even kill off other players or other characters. And
Yep.
this
Felt very-
will remember that.
but yeah, the very sort of paternal connection to Clem.
Yep.
Yeah, what a great game. What
It
a
is
great
fantastic.
True.
Fantastic.
Phil.
My number 8 game came out last year. It is Marvel's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 from the good folks at Insomniac Games.
Yes.
Released through Sony. Best superhero game ever made?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, any serious
mean-
discussion about something like that, it's right up there at the top of the list.
I mean, I could see an argument for maybe some of the recent Batman games, but I
Mhm.
certainly prefer Spider-Man to any of those. Not to say those are not great games.
Right.
But Spider-Man is just I really had a ton of fun with Spider-Man. Swinging around the city was never not fun. I perhaps the only game I've ever played that offered fast travel, and I never used it because
I used it once to see the gag.
same with me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Same with me. Just because it was just to see Spidey sitting on the train or whatever. But I after that first time just to see it, I was just like, I don't want to do this. I
yeah.
want
Why
to
would you
just,
even need it? It's
I
fun.
wanna
to swing through the city.
thwip. And yeah,
Rope.
I got a rope around the city. The story was fantastic. Just a really, really good comic book tale. I loved the characters. I really liked the game's interpretation of Otto Octavius,
Oh my God, yeah.
and just everything about that game was just really well done. I even liked the one thing I didn't like was the little puzzle elements when they would, when you would have to hack into something and they had those puzzle things, but they let you turn those off, which I loved. So that was really great. I also, they had those stealth bits too that I was not super into as well, but those were mercifully short and infrequent enough that I could just kind of go, okay.
I loved with those stealth bits. I loved where they turned it on its head at one point, and you're playing as Mary Jane.
That one was
and
fantastic.
Directing Spider-Man. That was
Yes.
amazing. I was like, oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah, that I thought was a really clever way to take those segments and make them
Yeah.
a load of fun. So
Yeah.
just and again, that's a game we have talked relatively recently about extensively, because all three of us really dug that game.
I never finished it, but I did.
I
still
still
can't
can't believe you
like
never
it.
finished it.
That's
Yeah, I
weird,
never
man,
finished
because it's so good.
I think Phil, you nailed it. I mean, it's the older Spider-Man games. There have been some really good ones and some not so great ones, but the traversal is everything
Mm-hmm.
in a Spider-Man game, and they nailed it. I mean,
Yeah.
I have zero complaints about it.
Yeah, even
And Sunset Overdrive coming before it was probably a good warm up for that.
Oh, sure.
For some of that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And of course, friend of the show and former coworker Brian Intihar was director of that game,
as
right?
his creative director, I believe.
Creative director.
Yeah. And I mean, he was wasting his time at Ziff Davis. He should have
Writing about sports games.
Sports reviews.
Yeah, I mean, we love you,
Seriously.
Brian, but I don't know what you were doing at Ziff when you clearly were meant to make games. So,
It's true.
but Spider-Man is top notch.
Well, my number 8 is Dead Space 2. Yeah.
And you love you some Dead Space 2, don't you?
I do love me some Dead Space 2. Yeah. I mean, I loved the original Dead Space. I thought that was a great game, but Dead Space 2 really kicked it up a couple of notches.
Mhm.
And especially just the whole bit where you find that the ship from the first game is inside
Yeah.
where you are.
Ishihara?
That was pretty great.
Is that the ship name?
That sounds right.
The Mishihara? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. But and also, of course, the scene where you're injecting something into your own eye. is
forget it.
unforgettable.
I had forgotten about that. I think it wasn't forgotten about it so much as I blocked it out.
Yeah.
Until I think our Halloween episode this past October.
No, it was episode 666.
Oh, that's what it was. 666.
Who could forget that episode?
Ishimura, by the way.
Ishimura, there we go.
Ishimura. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I want to go back and play this again sometime.
Oh, so good. And I do hope that Electronic Arts revisits Dead Space in some way, remasters it.
I hope they revisit it the right way. I hope they
the
don't
right way. Yeah.
go too heavy into services and all that crap. If they were to come back with it,
I mean, they ruined the franchise with the third game.
Yeah.
Sadly, but the second game I thought was one of those that was better than the first game, and just an amazing cinematic experience with just some great horror moments and just everything about that game. Sound design, level design, graphics, everything was great. I do hope they re-release that. Maybe they'll re-release it on the Switch. I mean, Alien Isolation did just get a re-release on Switch, so you never know.
No.
But Dead Space 2 had to be on my list of top 10 games of the decade. So that was my number 8.
Nice.
And with that, we should talk about some things that happened in 2012.
Where all Phil's favorite games came from.
Oh my God. Yeah, 2012 and 2013, just looking back at what games came out those 2 years. An amazing time for games.
It really was. Jeez,
so
Louise.
good. Giant Bomb returned to the GameSpot fold in 2012.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird.
That was weird. Double Fine launched their adventure Kickstarter.
Oh,
One of the
Double
greatest
Fine
Kickstarter
Adventure.
videos ever.
the game
One
that
of
would
the-
become
Broken
was-
Age.
Broken
Broken
Age. Yeah,
Age.
that's
Broken
right.
I like the
Fantastic game.
Kickstarter video more than the game. Game was good.
Game
I
was
like
really
Kickstarter
good.
video more.
Game was really good. The Vita came out in the US
Stupid name.
2012. PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
Draw Something got released on mobile. You remember Draw Something? We talked about that a lot on the
Oh,
show
yeah.
with Mike Phillips.
Yeah. Draw something
yeah.
was fun.
Draw Something was super fun.
Yeah.
Nintendo Week. You remember Nintendo Week? Because it
I
ended
miss
in
Nintendo Week.
Nintendo
March
Week.
2012.
Dark
Man.
Gary.
Gary,
Where are you?
Allison, Dark Gary.
Yeah.
That show
Nintendo
was
Week.
just fun.
It was
Show
so
was fun.
It was so stupid,
Yeah.
and it was so self-aware of how stupid it was, and it was not afraid to be stupid. And
Yeah.
it was such a. Such
And I
a
mean, that
fun
was a
show.
time when Nintendo was definitely not at the top of my list as far as,
Right.
like I wasn't really crazy about the Wii U or anything like that, or the
Yeah.
Wii, but I never missed an episode of that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The Wii U came out in 2012. And
There
of
you
course,
go.
they had that press conference where they showed off Nintendo Land, and that it ended their conference, and nobody was into that.
Was that the one that ended with the little like fireworks show?
Yes, the fireworks show in Nintendo Land. Wonder Book was announced and released.
Oh, geez, yeah.
remember Sony's Wonder Book?
I
worked,
have a Wonder Book.
So do I with the Harry Potter
Yeah.
Book of Spells.
Yep.
The company I was working for at the time, we did a lot of work on the Wonder Book prototype.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Huh.
Nintendo announced their digital download strategy. They offered like the first 3DS downloadable games in 2012, and as part of the Wii U launch, they did that digital deluxe promotion. So if you remember that, if you spent like $50 on the eShop, you got like $5 in credit. And it's kind of sort of akin to the gold points thing they have going now, but
But you get more than 25 cents on your birthday.
yeah. But it only went for a short period of time. It was like the first year of the Wii U.
I don't even remember it.
yeah. Sony bought Gaikai in 2012.
Mm.
Dave Perry made some money.
Yeah, the Ouya Kickstarter launched.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Penny Arcade did a Kickstarter. I don't know if you remember this, to have like a year without ads on their website. You remember that?
Oh,
I
That
do
was a
not
whole
remember
thing.
that.
I remember people. I remember it now that you mention it, and I remember people kind of going like, "Aren't you
Yeah.
guys like kind of stupid rich already?"
And they did it, I think, multiple times, not just in
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
Irrational Games had a job posting that sort of everybody picked up on because it required candidates to have an 85 plus Metacritic game on their resume.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Sandlot Sluggers.
So that was like one of the topics we talked about on the show was like, yeah, you see publishers say that, but you
Mhm.
don't often see that from like a developer job posting that you have to have had a 85
Right.
plus Metacritic game on your resume. Sony launched a redesigned PS3 that was more expensive than the old model.
Sony gonna
Yeah.
Sony.
Of course, the Jeff Kiley Doritos Pope thing happened in 2012.
Jeff Keighley.
Or Jeff
What'd you-
Keighley.
what'd you
I
say?
said Kylie. Keighley?
Ky-
Keighley. Jeff
like
Kylie Minogue.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
somewhere it's Kylie. Some part of the world
Keighley.
it's Kylie.
Sorry.
oh man,
It's late.
It's like
Jeff Keighley.
It's not late at all.
It's not even. It's not even 4 p.m.
I
DJ,
know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm in the same time
Jeff
zone
Keighley.
as you, man. You can't pull that.
It's getting late here.
I
Pretty
blame
dark out
a
there.
lack of Doritos and Mountain Dew on my mispronunciation.
Man, I could
Yeah,
go
Jeff
for some
Keighley's
Doritos and
name.
Mountain Dew right now.
Yep.
And I believe this might be correct, might not, but is your first Extra Life charity stream was in 2012. Does that sound right? Maybe.
I think it was 2011
Okay, maybe 2011.
because this
but
was my
around this
ninth
time.
year. So 2010, 2011. And yeah, I just started. Was starting it up.
Yeah, and of course, everybody remembers the quote from Phil Fish where he said that modern Japanese games
Ugh,
just
Jesus
suck.
Christ. Oh boy.
Listen to that guy.
Ugh.
Just suck. Where is he now?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think that means we can get on to
You
our
forgot.
number 7.
You forgot another big 2012 event.
Well, you guys have already talked about it like twice in this episode.
What?
What?
2012?
What?
What?
And I'm not even talking about my kid being born.
Oh, that's what I thought you were talking about.
No.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even say 2011. My daughter being born.
Yeah. No,
Ouch.
Yeah.
2012. Nintendo Power shuts its doors.
Oh, really?
Right.
Was
Phil
that-
shut down another magazine in
I killed-
2012.
I
Shuts
killed off-
down another magazine.
I killed off a nearly quarter century
Beloved
old, institution.
publication.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You know,
Wow.
something that, so many people would credit Nintendo Power with getting them into the video
Yeah.
game industry.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I helped
and
bring
you
it down.
destroyed it.
I helped bring it down. I don't mind saying. December 11th, 2012. 12/11/12, the final issue of Nintendo Power hit the stands. And
What a great
It was-
cover, too. Like
that was you're welcome.
I
You're
still
welcome.
have that. I
You
still have
are-
it.
you
Yeah,
are
thanks to Phil,
absolutely-
thanks to Bill Mudron.
Well, I mean,
Not him doing the thing, but the Nestor comic inside.
Bill, I mean, to be fair, I recruited Bill to draw the
right.
final list. No, the
Spoken like a producer, taking
taking
yeah,
credit for all of it.
for all the actual talent.
No, Bill Mudron, friend of the show, and he drew the final Howard and Nestor comic. It was written by Chris Slate, former EIC of Nintendo Power and current host of the Nintendo Power podcast.
Sure.
The cover, actually, which was of course a sculpted clay cover homage to Nintendo Power issue 1, was actually sculpted by Leslie Levings. Leslie Levings sculpted that, and she is a just incredibly talented artist who primarily does sculptures of cute little monsters and things like that. And she whipped up that cover for us. Levings is how you spell Leslie's last name if you want to look her up and her work. So, but yeah, I do miss Nintendo Power. So
Yes, but it lives on in podcast form.
it absolutely does.
All right, I guess that means we are up to number 7.
Number 7.
Numero siete.
You looked that up, didn't you?
I absolutely did.
There it is. There it is.
It never be said that I don't at least half-ass this stuff.
I'll save you the Google search. Sace is what you're looking for next.
Oh, it's just like yeah, okay.
Sace. Number 7.
My number 7 is a bit of a cheat,
Cheat.
but makes sense. Is the original Forza Horizon trilogy. So 1 through 3. Because I couldn't pick
That
which
is
one
a
I
cheat.
would.
That is a
Well,
cheat.
the thing is that if I had separated them, I'd have like a whole block of Forza Horizons 1 through 3 on this list. So I couldn't pick which one I liked the most out of those 3. 4, yeah, can take 4.
Four's good.
No, it's not.
Still good. It's good.
Forza 1 through 3 though. So Forza Horizon in general, I should say.
Yeah.
So let's say number 1 for.
When did the first one come out?
Sometime between 2010 and 2019.
It was on the Xbox 360.
It was on the Xbox 360. That's right. With the first one, so I, being a big racing fan, being a big Forza fan, I've never been a huge fan of open world racing games. Burnout Paradise is actually a great example of that. Also, the Need for Speeds as they went open world.
2012 was when the first one came out.
There you go. Another great thing that happened in 2012. Because I was sick of running into oncoming traffic too much. Crashing into. I find if the courses aren't specifically designed, like in say a Burnout, it's really hurts progress and it really slows you down in ways that I hated. I also at that point was extremely tired of police chases in open world racing games. It has been overdone to
It's a
death.
crutch. It's a crutch.
It's a crutch. So to have this game, Forza Horizon, which actually came out from Playground Games, which included some of the folks from the aforementioned Bizarre Creations that had shut down. They just basically said, like, here's a big sandbox, open world racing. We don't have any cops around. If you hit other cars, you don't have a big crash. You just sort of bounce off each other. And
but they do have speed traps.
They
no
do have
cops,
speed
but
traps.
There are speed traps
that you get rewarded for.
You get rewarded for it.
And it ticked all those boxes where it's like, here's everything good about open world racing, and everything I hated wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, one of the other great things is that, it had the racing line on the ground.
Sure. Yep.
And, it told you via color, just like the regular Forza game, whether you should be braking or not, and had the rewind feature, which of course is Forza.
Which again, a lot of the great stuff from Forza, from the Forza series, used that engine. Had all those great cars. Of course, you had all the liveries and things like that, because that was the painting aspect of Forza was so huge at that point.
Yep.
And it sort of wrapped it all up in this great music festival premise that I just loved. I loved the music in the game. There are songs on my Spotify playlist now that I got from that game.
Same.
There was
Churches.
just nothing.
Churches was on Forza Horizon 3,
right.
And
there was nothing about the game I didn't like. The setting was, the first one's Colorado, I think the second one was in Europe, and the third one was in Australia. So you also had these wonderfully, massively different landscapes. Sometimes within, the first game was mostly in green mountains of Colorado, but you get to massively different areas, especially in number 3 with Australia, where you're in the outback, but then you're also in cities. And so just adored all 3 of those. I kind of left the Forza proper series behind at that point, because this is what I love to play. And all 3 of those games, played them from start to finish. Finished won every race, went back and re-raced a bunch of stuff, played a bunch online. So much to love about those games. So yeah, Forza Horizon 1 through 3. 4 sucks. Bring it back to what it was.
4 is still good. 4 is good.
It's really not.
I disagree. All right, Phil.
Okay. My number 7 game is 2011's Portal 2.
Dun, dun, dun.
Excellent.
From the good folks over at Valve. Remember when Valve made games?
Yes.
Yeah. I do. They're starting to remember that too.
Yeah, apparently. We're getting hints of it. PS3, Xbox 360, PC, of course.
Yep.
Loved Portal 1, which I played Portal 1. The original Portal kind of just went past
by mistake.
Me.
Oh, really? Huh? You didn't play it when it was new?
Well, I played it shortly after it came out, because you guys were going on and on about it, and how you were both really kind of selling me on it, just like, oh, you really need to play it because you're gonna love it.
Yep.
And of course I did, because it's Portal and it's clever and funny, and it just plays really well. The puzzles are obviously super fun to figure out and everything. And so Portal 2, anxiously awaiting it, and met and exceeded all my expectations. The new puzzle elements, all the different the goo, I forget what they called it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you had all that like the bouncy goo and all that stuff like that. That was all incorporated really well to help kind of mix up the gameplay, create some new puzzle elements, and then the story. You are working against GLaDOS, and you have Wheatley, the little AI.
Wheatley is great.
Yeah, I mean, just Wheatley's interactions with Chell, who is of course the player's character. Both of your interactions with GLaDOS. Everything about it was fantastic. And then the ending sequence, when you're having that final, and again, I feel weird spoiling it. I mean, this
I
game
know,
is this game came out
8
years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody's played it, but the moon stuff at the end.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that because that was a wonderfully organic moment where you're looking at it going, will this work? Would that work?
It's one of those
And
things
then
where
you
you're
do
like,
it, and you see the little like bling, like on the moon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, it worked.
yeah, because there's you're like, oh no, that this can't be what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like this is what I'm supposed to do, but no, that would be ridiculous.
way.
Oh my god, it's working. So yeah, just all around, and of course you end up with another fantastic song at the end from GLaDOS.
Yep.
So yeah, just again, just a complete package. Portal 2 is so very good. So there you
Agreed. Well, my number 7
go.
is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mario Kart 8 again was one of those games kind of trapped on the Wii U, and I thought it was great. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite Mario Kart.
Oh,
And
God,
definitely the one I played
Yeah.
the most of. But yeah, finished all the cups on the Wii U and loved that. And then they announced some DLC for it. And then of course the package on the Switch, being the game with everything already unlocked, you don't actually have to unlock tracks or anything. Just a fantastic Mario Kart.
Yeah.
The best that Nintendo has made. And it's just a fun party game. Anybody can play it. I think Deluxe even goes further with the addition of like an autopilot mode so that younger players can stay on the
Yes.
track, which
Very
actually makes a
kid-friendly.
huge
Yep.
difference when you're playing with younger gamers, so they don't have to like, start going the wrong way or feel bad they're in last place. or
That
anything
made
like
that made my, well, she was 6 at the time, but that made my then 6-year-old excited about Mario Kart.
yeah.
That she could pick it up and play. And she's gotten to the point that she doesn't use the assists anymore.
All
But
right.
She could pick it up and play it and be successful right away.
Yep.
Nice.
But really just what a amazing Mario Kart package from Nintendo. I wish they would go back and add more content to it, but I doubt they'll be doing
Yeah.
that. I wonder,
Or announce
really
a Mario Kart 9.
I really sort of wonder where they're going to go with Mario Kart after that point, because of course the DLC for Mario Kart 8 included tracks that were themed around Zelda and Animal Crossing and other licenses, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe brings back the battle mode, and there's a Splatoon thing in there too. So like where's everything going with Mario Kart? I'm not sure, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a fantabulous party game, fantastic online racing game just in general. It's a game I can go back to, and I feel like I'm just it's like riding a bike. You get all the shortcuts and all these sort of power slides just as if I played it yesterday for the first time. It's great. So
Yep.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is my number 7. And
Very
with
nice.
that, what year are we up to here? 2013? Is that right?
Yes.
We're gonna have to end
2013.
We're at the end of the show on one of your yearly reviews, aren't we?
But we have,
I
yeah,
guess-
because we have
I guess
one
so.
more. We're gonna do the number 6 game this episode, and then
I think, yeah, we do that,
Yep.
and then you do that, but then I think maybe you need to get these yearly reviews in front of these games, or else we're going to end the next episode on a yearly
right.
review rather than the.
You're right.
yeah, that's
okay,
true.
we'll do that next episode.
Just saying.
This is a
Okay.
work in progress. Work in
Okay.
progress.
Yeah.
Of course, 2013 was the year that we got the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and the announcements of those systems happened that same year. So that had not happened in a while. Of course, the Wii U was announced like a year or two before it came out. Kenji Ino passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the brain behind Warp and all of
Yep.
those titles. You remember the SimCity debacle?
Oh my
2013.
god! I
The
was
always
so
online stuff.
excited,
Always on.
so excited for that game, and so disappointed inside of an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, what
Yes.
a mess!
And of course, the SimCity thing like spurned people's anger for anything that was always online.
Yeah,
And that really kind of fed into a lot of the hate on the Xbox 720 at the time, before we knew that it was called the One. And if you'll remember, Adam Warth, who worked at Microsoft, had a Twitter exchange with another developer about people complaining that it was going to be always on, always online, always had to be online. And he was no longer working at Microsoft shortly after those comments were made.
What's been his contribution to society since?
Oh, was that guy?
It's not that guy.
No, it's not that
guy.
Oh, okay.
It's Microsoft related, but
Yeah.
The remember the VR but not VR, the Drift game that you played on PlayStation 4? Like, it was originally an Oculus game, I think. Adrift.
Oh yeah, Drift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Developed by Adam Orth after this event. Apparently,
Yes.
Adrift, or this event, really inspired Adrift.
Huh.
Let's see. We got Ziff Davis buying IGN.
Oh,
In
weird.
2013. And then, of course, Ziff Davis shut down OneUp and GameSpy in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
An outlet Phil didn't destroy.
Nope. Although I was at GameSpy for a while.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah,
But I did not.
not at the end.
I was.
At the end.
I left before they died. So
Yes. You'll remember Valve started up a Steambox initiative in
Mhm.
2013. Nothing came of that. BioShock Infinite released 2013.
Oh yeah. What was that? Boy, that's
Hell of a
that.
year. Hell of a
Boy,
year.
if we were doing disappointments of
Oh,
the
that'd be
decade,
right at the top.
that would be up there certainly.
Near the
boy,
top.
number one,
Boy,
right at the top.
Boy, was I looking forward to that game.
Me
And-
Still-
too. And
The one brilliant thing about that game was the then future music
Oh yeah,
being rewritten as like
Right.
barbershop quartet style
yeah.
songs.
Oh yeah.
Those
And
are great.
I played
Those
through
were
that
okay.
game too. I finished
Oh,
that
yeah, me
game.
too.
Me too.
Because
Me
I was waiting
too.
for it to get better.
Yeah,
And it
same
didn't.
I
here.
expected
It
it to
didn't.
get better.
Yeah, we even have friends who worked on BioShock Infinite in the
Mhm.
narrative department, and no, it was just not. It was not a cohesive
Wow.
good. Good. I
See-
mean,
see,
Wow.
they being unnecessarily
Calling 'em
harsh
out.
there.
Yeah.
My
the
goodness.
bits,
Yeah.
the bits they wrote were good, but not as part of the.
Oh,
How
there
do
you
you
go.
know what bits they wrote?
Well, he just knows the good bits were written by the people we
good-
know.
Clearly.
Exactly, the good bits were
Oh,
written
my
by people that
goodness.
we know.
Oh,
Disney closed LucasArts in
yeah.
2013.
Oh yeah.
You remember that Electronic Arts had this thing called the Online Pass?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? They decided
it
to
that year.
axe that program in 2013. So if you remember, games like the Saboteur had this code in there.
That's how you got
where-
to see the boobies.
That's how you got to see the boobies. Yeah, you got to see, like, there was basically like some content that was reserved for only people who bought it new.
And for anyone who doesn't know or doesn't remember, I'm serious when I say that, because the Saboteur,
you're
which
right.
is a great game by the way, it takes place in France, in occupied France, World War II,
Mhm.
and you are working out of basically a strip club as your hidden home base. And if you paid for the Game Pass and the extra content, part of that extra content was while you were in that space, the women
In
were
the
all
intro.
topless.
In the
Oh,
intro, they were
jeez.
topless. Yeah.
The women were topless.
Oh,
But
my
if you
goodness.
didn't pay for it, the women were clothed.
Video
What a
games,
weird
far we've
program,
come.
that whole online pass thing. What a weird
Yeah.
thing.
video games.
Yeah. Of course, we had the Xbox One reveal and the whole DRM policy
No, right.
thing that
nowhere.
happened there, where the disc was basically just a key. And I mean, that is kind of played out anyway, because the disc is just an install for the game, but much different. Of course, their policy, after announcing it, they reversed pretty much everything in the 6 months from E3 to launch. They tried to reverse every decision that they made,
Almost
except
every
of course,
decision they made was wrong.
of course, except for including Connect in the box and having the pass through, HDMI pass through, and trying to make the Xbox One your cable box.
But they eventually got rid of those too, right?
Well, I think you can still do that stuff. I think
The pass through.
you can. Yeah, even the
Okay.
Xbox One S has the pass through
Okay.
on
The,
it.
the Connect doesn't come in the box anymore, though, right?
Yeah, the S and the X don't have the Connect, even the cable for it.
Huh.
So,
Right.
or the port for it. You had to buy that. You had to buy the adapter separate. Anyway, so yeah, PS4 no DRM. You remember that, the video, of course, at E3 with Adam
He
Boys and Shuhei Yoshida passing the game to each other, kind of crazy. Earthbound released on the Wii U Virtual
Oh, yeah.
Console. So for years, it was Nintendo's never going to release Earthbound because blah, 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 whatever reason.
This
And
was
then they
Earthbound
did
at the
it.
beginning, wasn't it?
No,
Oh, okay.
This was the
this
SNES
was
one.
the Super Nintendo.
Super
one.
Nintendo. All right.
Mhm.
Yes. Sega bought Atlas,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
2013. Phil Fish decided he was going to leave game development and that Fez 2 was canceled. See you later.
What a shame.
Yeah, Disney Infinity launched in 2013. Nintendo introduced the 2DS.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
taking
that was
out
a good
that-
idea.
Third dimension. That was a good idea.
Still around too.
It is still around. Yeah. We got the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter in 2013.
from Phil Theobald.
Now
Nope.
I only
Don't
was
distance
involved
yourself.
with that during the actual campaign. I had no hand in it.
After that point.
Post campaign, I had no involvement in the development of the game, the promotion of that game, or anything beyond actually the very successful Kickstarter campaign. So,
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes.
You might remember the Vita
like an
TV.
anime fam on prom night.
See, I had no involvement in that. I stress. Our friends over at 8-4 contacted me and said, "Hey, would you want to help out with this Kickstarter campaign?" And
Yeah.
at the time, boy, we were all enthused because boy, it sounded great.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Beforehand, while they were planning it. So
Yes.
yeah, I only take credit for the good parts, none of the bad.
Spoken like a producer.
Thank you.
There you go. You remember the Vita TV, which was later introduced in America as the PlayStation TV. But
Yeah, I
that-
still have one of
that-
those.
I have
Yeah.
one of those somewhere around here. Yeah.
Mine's
I have
still
one of
hooked
those as well when it was like $30 or on
Yeah,
on
that's
super
when I got
clearance.
mine. Yeah.
up. Massive failure.
Total failure, but it came out in Japan in 2013 and then the US in 2014. So
Hmm.
just a strange, like, why release that in the US? Anyway, Hiroshi Yamauchi passed away
Mhm.
in 2013,
Yep.
president of Nintendo for many,
Yes,
many
indeed.
years there, including the NES, Super NES eras. And this came out in 2013, but we weren't really talking about it until 2014. I am referring to, of course, Flappy Bird.
Oh yeah, Flappy Bird.
God.
Flappy Bird released in May.
We-
Didn't become a viral sensation until the beginning of 2014.
Greg scoffs, but Flappy Bird was a huge deal when that
No,
when
I
that
remember.
got big for those couple 2 months or whatever it
It
was.
wasn't. It was like 2 months, and then the developer pulled it off of the store.
Yeah.
Because people were becoming addicted to it, and he didn't agree with people becoming addicted to his game, so he pulled it off the
Yeah.
store.
Yeah.
Didn't he get a lot of flack too for what people thought were reusing Nintendo graphic assets?
I don't know if he got that much flack for that,
Okay, I seem
Maybe.
to remember that being.
but
part
then
the
of course
conversation.
everybody else copied that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and copied those assets.
And the
Also,
naming convention. Oh my God,
yeah,
Oh,
Flappy
yeah.
Bird,
Crossy
Steppy
Road.
Pants.
Yep.
There's all sorts of a lot of games in the App Store even now can be
Yeah,
Yep.
traced back to that naming convention. Anyway, I think that means that we are at number 6.
Our final game of this episode.
That's right.
Number 6.
numero seis.
There you go.
Oh, and it's me.
It's you.
Formula 119, 2019. And this is kind of along the same lines as the Forza Horizon games previously. I would say really this whole series is right up there for me for the last decade. This has been, there have been Formula 1 games around forever. I think since the 80s, there's been F1 games in arcades and things like that as well, and on computers. And there have been some great ones. There have been some not so great ones. But I don't know if it's been this entire decade or at least the better part of this decade, Codemasters has been the developer and publisher behind the Formula 1 video game series. And anyone who listens to the show knows that in the previous probably 4 or 5 years now, they always make my top 5. And for good reason. They just get better and better and better. And 2019 has been the best one yet. This is another one of those kind of lines of Lego Dimensions where I spend a good chunk of my year playing these games every year. I'm still playing them when the new one comes out, which I feel like for a sports game, which, you know, is basically, you could say, a roster update every year. That's saying something, that I enjoy this so much that I play it 12 months of the year and then the new one comes out and I just start all over again. But that's because Codemasters has not rested on their laurels with this series. It's been great for a very long time. And I feel like every year they improve it. And this past year, 2019, was a massive improvement. The game feels so much better that I even go back to the ones that I adored from like 3 years ago and find them not unplayable, but very difficult to play because the series has evolved that much in that short space of a time. So, yeah, F1 2019, and this is really the series in general. Absolutely love it. Super excited to see where it goes in the next few years now that there's going to be some major regulation changes in the sport itself in the next 2 years. So I'll be curious to see how Codemasters deals with that and what we end up getting because of it.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Phil.
My number 6 game comes from 2017. It is a Super Mario Odyssey. Woohoo! What a Nintendo Switch, everybody. Everybody likes the Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is fantastic. I love Mario games. I love the 3D Mario games. And Odyssey is so well done. The level design is great. It looks great. The music's great. It has that incredible jump up superstar level where you're going through the city and that song kicks in and it kind of you're reverting back to the 2D Mario bits. And just such a well-made platform game. Like, again, this is, you know, it's one that we've gone on about so much in the past, but I don't know how much, what more I can say about it other than it is just an exceptionally made 3D Mario game. And that's kind of my thing.
This one was very close to my top 10.
Yeah.
And didn't quite make it in, but I agree. It's a fantastic Mario game. And what I think I like most about it is that it's a tight game, right? Like you can finish it pretty quickly.
Oh man.
So tight.
You can finish it quickly is what I'm saying. And it doesn't outstay its welcome, right? Like you can finish it and then it sort of works in the tradition of a lot of more recent 3D Mario games or just Mario games in general, where you can finish the core game and, you know, save the princess, quote unquote. And then a lot more of the game opens up.
Yes.
And you can play this thing for a long time. You can play every world back and they add more stuff to do. It's just extremely inventive and fun, and I cannot wait to see what comes next from this team.
I was a big fan of 3D Land and 3D World. Big fan of the Mario Galaxy games. But when Odyssey came out, it really showed me like those games were really good, but Odyssey really brought Mario right back to the top. Like it just, there's something about that game. Yeah, top of the iron ball. That's 3D World. But there's just everything about it. It feels very much like Mario 64 in all the right ways. But it also feels really modern.
It does,
while still being a classic Mario game. So really love that game
in cinematic style too. Like the things that happen in the game and the animation of the, you know, the interplay between you and the Broodals and the different bosses and the final sort of fight with Bowser and what happens there. Like the whole thing is just like, you know, for a franchise that has been going that long, you don't expect to find inventive things happening, and yet Mario Odyssey manages to squeeze out some things. So great game.
Yep.
So I guess we're ending this with another look at another year.
You should probably give us your number 6.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I didn't do that.
Your mysterious
You don't
number
wanna
6.
Hear, you don't want to hear about my number 6 game. But no, my number 6 game.
Formula One 2019. Wow.
Is Splatoon for the Wii U.
Yeah.
The original Splatoon, not the sequel.
Interesting. Really? So this is the second time that you've done a Wii U game on your
A Wii U
list
game.
where the sequel came out on Switch and you didn't pick that. So okay.
That's true. Splatoon, I just thought, it was a breath of fresh air when it came out because this is a new IP from Nintendo and it's a shooter,
Mm-hmm.
which are things that you would not expect. And it also used the gamepad in a really interesting way to use it as a mini map. And so you could see the progress on the level that you and your team were trying to paint with ink just by looking down. And that was fantastic. And it used motion control for aiming. And I really, really, really loved the first Splatoon. And of course, there's another situation much like Mario Maker and Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, where they supported the game post-release with a lot of content. Splatoon, came out on the Wii U, which is not a popular console, yet Nintendo supported it for 2 years after with new stages. When the game originally came out, I think there were only 4 or 6 stages, something like that, and people complained that the game didn't have enough on the disc, and they released more stages, and they released private battles so that you could play against just friends, but a lot of that stuff wasn't there at launch. And they supported the game with Splatfests, which are online events that everybody takes part in, and they came up with these sort of ridiculous sides for things like, are you a hot dog person or do you like ice cream, or like whatever the Splatfest topic was at this time. So you for some reason I got really into like some of those things, and I think one of them was Autobots and Decepticons, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Licensed ones too. So just at a time, of course, when nobody was playing the Wii U, and a lot of people didn't get on board that first Splatoon game, but I loved it, and I thought it was one of the most original things Nintendo had done, and it was an online shooter, and even without voice chat, it somehow worked, and I played hours upon hours of the original Splatoon, and even the story mode is just a super inventive game, and the final boss is really different, a really different kind of encounter. So unfortunately a lot of people didn't play it, but I kind of wish that Nintendo would re-release the Splatoon 1 campaign somewhere, but Splatoon 2's campaign is pretty darn good too, and I guess that'll have to do. But Splatoon is my number 6 game.
Excellent.
So now I think we should go into some headlines here from the year 2014 that we talked about on the show. PlayStation Now got announced. Remember
PlayStation
that?
when?
PlayStation Now
Oh,
became a thing in 2014, and they had a beta and everything.
So Gaikai?
Basically, yeah, like from the remnants of that service came PlayStation Now. Irrational Games downsized, so
Yeah.
got rid of a lot of people, kept like a skeleton crew on to do the post. They did some DLC releases, and then I think downsized even more. Ken Levine is doing something else, not as Irrational now. Amy Hennig and Naughty Dog parted ways.
first of all, it's Henning.
Hennig. Sony announced Project Morpheus, which of course is PSVR.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Project Morpheus.
I forgot that's what it was called.
Yeah. Facebook bought Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
2014.
That went well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phil Spencer became the top guy at Xbox.
That went well.
Great,
Yep.
change of head there.
If you're gonna change heads, change to
If
Phil
you're gonna
Spencer.
Change to Phil Spencer. Amy Hennig, of course, then joined Visceral Games, EA Studio.
Miss Perfect.
Yeah. Microsoft had a press event where they went to Alamogordo, New Mexico, and dug up
Oh,
ET
God.
cartridges. Do you
And they
remember?
made a documentary about it.
Jeez,
Yeah, the Game Over documentary where, Microsoft, for some reason, I think they funded the documentary, dug up ET cartridges.
That
Very
irritated the
strange.
hell out of me because even when they were digging that stuff up, it's like they were finding a bunch of other games too. It's like, well, it's almost like they just dumped all their unwanted stuff.
yeah,
here.
exactly.
Yeah. Resolution Gate became a thing where people like started counting the P's of everything and the different ports.
People
of
have too
games
much time on their
between-
hands.
PS4 and Xbox One. Bob Hoskins passed away from the Super Mario
Aw.
Brothers movie,
Yep.
of course.
Hey, let's
Yep.
remember him for like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or
And Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
or The Long Good Friday or something like that.
Yeah. Harmonix put up a Kickstarter for Amplitude, which I backed.
How'd that go?
I received my rewards, and
So it
the
went
game
well.
did come out. So
Hooray.
you remember that Tomodachi Life came out in the U.S. and it did not allow same-sex relationships.
And it was also really disappointing.
It was also a disappointing game in general. But Nintendo said that they would try better in a future version, which I don't think they've ever done. Another Tomodachi Life game.
Yeah.
Microsoft released an Xbox One without the Kinect.
Dun dun dun.
So originally they said the Kinect is a vital part. And then in 2014, they released one without it. Amazon bought Twitch in 2014. Originally, the rumor that was that YouTube was going to buy Twitch, but Amazon outpaid them. You'll remember Polygon.com did a chart about Mario Kart 8 and how it was going to be the worst selling of the franchise. That happened in 2014.
Here's a chart. Look at this chart. This chart proves it.
This chart proves it. Of course,
But what is it of? It's a chart.
Yeah.
it's a chart. That the article's still up, but without the chart that everybody.
Oh, really?
They took that chart out, but the article's still there. The book Console Wars was released.
It's a good book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Love to know what's going with the movie and or documentary.
I think they're doing a TV series.
Oh, right. It's turned into a
TV
TV
series
series
now.
But there's also
Yeah.
supposed to be a documentary.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Last of Us movie got announced, and Sam Raimi is supposed
And
to be
it's
involved.
Still not.
I most certainly am. It's a good thing you brought that up. I had forgotten I was supposed to be working on that. Don't worry, I'll get going on it right now. Let's see. Interior day. Zombie house.
No. No.
What?
There's no zombies in The
Wrong.
Last of Us.
I'm pretty sure there are.
Clickers.
There are now.
The
Yeah.
head zombie says to Grizzly Adams, "Hey there, I want to eat your flesh." Enter Clementine, the heroic girl, who
From the
says, "Back off, Jack, I'm a scientist." And she shoots him with an arrow right in the forehead. The zombie dies and says with his dying words, "It's me, Bruce Campbell. It was me all along."
We really are The Last of Us.
I really thought you were going to say ouch.
Ouch. Ouch. Why would you do that? Was very
Wow.
inconsiderate. Oh, boy.
I don't know if you remember this, but of course, Sony released The Last of Us Remastered on PS4 and then did a live event, which they streamed, of the voice actors acting out some of the scenes from the game. So that was pretty cool. And you can find that on YouTube. EA Access got launched.
Mm-hmm.
You remember PT, the playable teaser?
I still have it on my PlayStation.
2014.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The beginning of what became Death Stranding. And I don't
Yeah,
mean the game, but the
seriously.
whole situation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So PSN had an outage in August, a DDoS denial of service. And then, of course, even bigger than this, PSN and Xbox Live had outages over Christmas.
That's a bad time
So-
for that to happen.
There were articles about how this group ruined Christmas, and there was some hacking group took responsibility for it.
Mm.
But anyway, the new 3DS got announced in 2014. The new, quote, new
No.
3DS. Microsoft bought Minecraft in 2014.
Yes.
Yeah. Nintendo's quality of life device was announced, or at least they acknowledged it in 2014.
A slightly faster memory card. Oh, that was something else. Sorry.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Unity was released, but they had a very unconventional press embargo. The embargo was for noon on the day of release. So the game came out, people could buy it, and reviewers weren't allowed to post their stuff until noon. And Amiibo came out.
Amiibo?
Amiibo? Nintendo released the first Amiibo figures in 2014. And
Okay.
that's that. That's 2014. So
It's all the news
I think
is
that
fit to
means
print.
we have wrapped up the first half of our Game of the Decade series, and you'll want to come back and hear the exciting conclusion next week, but we're about to record it.
Oh, way to ruin the magic,
They
CJ.
don't need to know that.
I guess you
man.
don't need to know that.
Yeah.
But now you do. Magic of
Oh,
radio and all
boy.
that.
Oh boy.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, perhaps you disagree with our lists so far.
You're wrong.
Who cares?
We recorded this weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it.
We're long gone by now.
Yeah. We're in the Bahamas.
So you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you will find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
I'm sure at least 5 have been released since we recorded this.
Yeah, probably. You'll find Generation 16 episodes as they happen.
The episode 120 is out. Please go and enjoy it.
Yahoo! You'll also find show notes and links to some of the things we talked about in this episode. I have like a list of links with the news headlines at least, so maybe I'll put that in. We'll see how I'm feeling. But there's also a link on our website to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up the Apple Podcast app on your Apples or whatever podcast application you use on whatever device. We're there. You'll find us.
Probably.
How hard could it be?
Yeah, don't bother with the application anymore. I still have to write a script for the outro because
that'll be your Christmas break coming up.
Yeah,
with a script for this.
that's my homework over Christmas break.
Yeah.
But where do I usually go? You can subscribe.
Yeah.
That's when,
Like
and
us
then
on
I
Facebook. You can watch
and
us
then
live.
and then I usually plug. Yeah, we're on Facebook, we're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify. You can watch us live most weeks. Not this week, but most weeks on the YouTubes.com.
Well, you might be
/P1
watching this
podcast,
on YouTube. You could,
but
be
not
watching
live.
Not
CJ.
live. No,
I
that's
say it
true.
3 times. But it's
Okay.
not 3 times live this week.
Okay.
Follow our Twitter
Not
accounts to find out when we'll be doing our next live show sometime.
In
I
January.
promise you. In January. Into the year 2020.
In the
fall
year
of
2020.
land of 2020. The future, Conan? Hey, if you've liked what you've heard. Oh, and hey! I can maybe work it in there. I
Oh,
don't
there
know.
you go. I like it.
If you like what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way.
Cheap.
Oh, cheap. Well, I thought you were going to talk about
Well,
the
no,
price of the
I
after
will
show.
mention the specific price.
That's when I was going to say
All right.
cheap.
Yeah, this is
All right,
where
all
I
right,
usually
all right.
talk about how you embezzle the funds.
Oh,
CJ.
right.
Yeah.
So CJ's going to steal the money.
No, that's not true.
Yep,
But it does-
we've got that covered.
It does keep our lights on.
It pays for Zoom.
Pays for
Yep.
Zoom, so we can broadcast live
Pays for our
live
Zunes.
most weeks.
Yep.
Zooms. That's what we call whippets. That we're all way into. That's not actually true. But you can if you are a Patreon subscriber of the $5 tier,
Cheap.
that gets you access to special weekly post shows. We record little after-hour shows where we play games, we crack wines, we do all that stuff CJ said in the intro.
And they're after hours. You know that because we're not wearing any pants.
Mhm.
That's right.
Guaranteed.
Guarantee.
So please join us for that. We do, of course, love and appreciate all of our Patreon friends, even and you normies as well. We love all of you as well.
Yeah.
You all
if you-
count.
If you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding, and it is outstanding, web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Also very cheap.
Also cheap.
Oh,
Yeah, that's that.
but I can't wait till we refine this.
It's gonna be nice when it does.
It's gonna be good.
Plus, so I'll
Mhm.
I'll write it down and then give me like a good
Year, 2.
8 to 12 months to kind of
Mm.
commit it to memory. CJ,
Yeah. Huh?
thank you very much for this past decade of
Podcasts. And
well,
things.
this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil, for joining us. Load these many episodes.
Boy, tell me about it. Many
Yeah.
is the word there.
Mm.
Gregory.
Yo.
Now, see, I took high school Spanish. That's why I can count to 10.
We don't
And
have Spanish in
Espanol.
high school here.
And that's also how I learned to roll my R's. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much. Because you know what? There's a big difference between perro and perro. Well, I can't do it now.
Wow,
Can't do
there's
it.
definitely a difference to that.
Perro. There we go. Perro
What's the difference?
and perro. Perro means but. In
Of course, you.
in the conjunction
Oh,
sense,
okay.
not
But you'd
hinder.
forgive me for thinking you.
I mean,
yeah,
it
okay.
is me we're talking about. Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
Perro is dog.
That is a big difference.
Yeah, I believe I have those correct. I may be
I'm
mixing
sure you'll
those.
be corrected if
But
so.
Someone in the
I
chat has already
believe-
corrected you.
I believe rolling the R is dog, and not rolling the R is the conjunction but.
Conjunction, junction. What's your
their
function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses. Schoolhouse Rock, man.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Greg, of course, for joining us as well.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, of course, to our wonderful listeners for joining us this year and every decade.
Going into our third decade.
Oh God! Don't.
Tune
No.
in next
Oh.
week, of course, for our top 5 games of the decade, friends.
That's right.
We'll see you then.
Merry Christmas and see you next week.
Adios.
There are other holidays as well, CJ.
Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Festivus.
Festivus. Yes.
Well, there we go.
Tune in next week for the feats of strength and airing of grievances.
Definitely airing of grievances. That's definitely. Bye, everybody.
Bye.